when you should defend yourself at work. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Shut Up and Work podcast. I am your host, the coach, and along with me is SJ. SJ, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks, Coach. How are you doing today?
Hey, can't complain. Enjoying every time, especially when we can come on and do this episodes. I am very, very happy. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. Today, I want to talk about how and when you should defend yourself at work. Now, disclaimer, I'm not talking about defend as far as a physical altercation, and I'm not talking about defending yourself if it pertains to you being accused in a sexual situation. What I'm talking about defending yourself from is if you are being written up for no just cause or being reprimanded in any way, or you're about to be fired. This is what I'm talking about on how to defend yourself from those things. Let me give you a quick story of what happened to the coach when he was younger. So, over 25 years ago, before I joined the military, I've worked at this industrial plant that made eye drop solutions for contacts and other things in that nature for your eye. So stuff like Visine and things like this. In there, I was a material handler. That was my job. And it was a busy and laborsome job that I had to do. And on top of that, I worked weekends, like the shift would start, I believe, Thursday, and every night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and sometimes Sunday night, I would have to work 12 hours. So from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. So those were some rough hours on the body. Well, anyway, there was this one employee. She was a lead, not a supervisor. She was a lead. And this one employee, she had a bad reputation. And the reason why she had a bad reputation, I'm just going to go on and put it out there. She was prejudiced. She was a bigot towards Black people. It was all through the plant. Everybody knew about this individual. They were like,
hey, she is a bigot. She doesn't like Black people and stay out of her way. She is a nasty woman.
So one night, for some reason, my immediate supervisor, she couldn't be at work. She had to take off. And then to add or compound on top of this, my other compadre, my partner in crime, the other material handler, because it was two of us on each shift, and it was two of us that was needed to perform the job and stay on top of it during the shift, he couldn't be there. So wow, a double black eye already. Well, guess who was going to supervise that night? That lady that I just explained, that lead. So sure enough, I guess, I don't know if as soon as she came into work that she was like, hey, I'm going to go after the coach here, or I don't know if she made up her mind to come after me during the work shift. So either way, I'm working my ass off that night because, as I told you, my partner is out. So meaning I have to do my job and his job when he was normally there. So as the hours went on, I think it was about 6 or 7 hours. I was just now catching up, keeping my head above water on the shift. I'm tired. I'm all sweaty and everything. And I sit down to take my lunch break. So as soon as I sat down, I was maybe in the break room about 5, maybe 10 minutes at the most. One of the employees from the production line, they come down to the break room and they was like,
hey, this lead person, she wants to see you right now.
And I was like, what? I'm just barely getting the break. I'm just barely getting the chance to sit down. What the hell does she want? So I get up, walk back to the production floor, and she's standing out by our work area, and she's got papers in her hands. And soon as I get close to her, she puts the papers in front of me and she said,
Sign this right now.
and I was like, what is it?
Just sign it right now.
So I got the papers from her and I'm looking at them and I see all these things that she's written up on this paper. And she's saying that what I'm not doing. Now, once again, let me remind you, I'm working without my counterpart that night. So yeah, I'm struggling, trying to keep up and everything. And I noticed on the paper it's dated the same night that I'm working. So she doesn't have previous dates on there, on that paperwork. It's just that night on that shift that we are working shorthanded. So she tells me, she's like,
Sign it right now and go on, take your lunch and come on back. And so I could give it to upper management.
and I told her, looked her in the face. I said, no, I'm not going to sign this. I want to talk to the head supervisor of this department once he gets in the morning. And she's like,
Well, I already talked to him and he told me to go ahead and write you up. So you're just wasting time. Go ahead and sign it.
and I stated to her again firmly,
No, I am not going to sign it. I am here by myself tonight, and there's no way. I'm barely keeping up, so I want to talk to him about this.
so she kind of frowned up and made this old ugly look. She was already ugly. I mean, the woman will make a bulldog run from a piece of meat. That's how ugly she was. And hell, the piece of meat will get up behind the bulldog and take off running too. So, with that being said, I took my lunch, went on back, worked the rest of the morning. And I want to say about 6 a.m., when there was about an hour left on my shift, the head manager of that department comes in and I see him. And immediately I stopped what I was doing, ran over to my little desk, got the piece of paper that she tried to get me to sign, which was basically a write-up. And I told him, I said, hey, this person tried to write me up. And I said, look, I was shorthanded tonight. My other material handler wasn't even here. And I said, all night, I've been busting my behind. I was all sweaty, worn down, tired, going on the 12th hour of my shift. I said, I'm trying to do this and trying to do that. I said, it takes two people to do this job. Why am I being written up for this night? And the department manager, he listened and he was like,
Well, here, just give me the paperwork. He said, don't worry about it. I'll talk to this lead about this.
and one of the other things I mentioned to him was that if I was a problem, wouldn't I have been written up a long time ago with my regular supervisor being here? That would have been documentation. I said, but all the dates on here is tonight when we were shorthanded. So anyway, make a long story short of this story, the head supervisor, he ended up discarding the write-up. And that was my experience of dealing with this bulldog here. So SJ, have you had some situations where someone tried to reprimand you unjustly or unfairly in any way, shape, or form? Go ahead.
There have only been a couple of situations where I've been reprimanded at work. Yes, I did feel they were unjust, but not really in the same way. So I can't really say that I've been in that particular position. But I want to hear how you handled it and what you did, and then I'll branch off more into what happened to me and how I handled it after that.
Great point. Great point. Now, I'm a kind of go back and forth here because I know everybody out there that may be listening, the situations may be different. Now, at this time, when I did that, I was very young. I was just barely 20, 21 years old at that time. And luckily, everything fell into play with me. What do I mean by that? Well, as I was explaining through the story, I just happened to look at the dates on the paperwork and saw that she didn't have a official track record of me not doing my job. What do I mean? Well, she only had that date, that particular date, when we were shorthanded, or when I was shorthanded with help at my job, that she wrote everything down and tried to make her move and reprimanded me. So normally supervisors or bosses should have a paper trail on you where they've recorded days, not just one single day, but multiple days or multiple months of paperwork on you where you are not performing your job. So she didn't have that. The other thing was when, as I said in the story, she could not justify why she was writing me up. When I kept asking her, hey, what is this? Why are you writing me up? Da, da, da. And when I told her what was going on, which she already knew because she was the supervisor at night, she knew I was shorthanded. She could not explain. So that further helped my case. And then the third thing was in her situation was that she was forcefully trying to make me sign the piece of paper without even reading it. So I guess she thought since I was a darker shade person, a black person, that I wasn't going to be smart enough to even read what she had put on the paper. I was just going to flip the paper to the back page or whatever and sign it and just give it to her just like she demanded. So in situations, if you find yourself, especially now in today's age, the information age or the digital age, you have, or you should have, a phone now that can keep information. You can get you a small notepad and always document what you are doing. If you have a laptop or a computer that you work from, send an email. That's the first thing that I will do is I will send an email to coworkers and my supervisor.
May
Okay.
I interrupt you very quickly, Coach?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
You were speaking about technology and how to document,
Yes.
record, research the laws in your state.
Yes.
The state that you and I live in says that as long as one person is aware of the recording, and that means you,
Mm-hmm.
then you can record your conversation with another party. So record it. It's hard to remember things in the heat of the moment. People
Mm-hmm.
might try to discourage you from writing things down and keeping notes.
Right.
And let me tell you something else. When people see you walk in with the pen and paper in hand,
Yes.
they will feel intimidated. What are you
That's
writing
right.
down there? Why do you
That's
feel the need to write something down?
Uh-huh.
So use your phone, record. I actually know more than one person who has felt it necessary, and I have been advised to get a recording device that looks like a watch or looks like a pen or
Yep.
looks like some other type of object that you would naturally have with you while you're at work. So
Yeah.
if things are really at this level, this might be an investment. You can buy something for $100 or less. Doesn't have to be the fanciest thing in the world. Test it out. People have dash cams,
Yes.
but you might want to consider recording, actually having an audio recording so that there is evidence and proof. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt.
No,
Back
no,
to you,
no, no.
Coach.
That's a great point because I was gonna get to that, but I'm glad you already knocked that out for me. So as we were saying, me and SJ were saying, there are many things out there for you in today's time to either record or where you can make notes, or as I was stating, you can also, if you work in a workplace where you are required to have a laptop or a computer, you make notes or emails on there will be great enough. Number two, remain calm. Always remain calm when you are approached in this situation. No matter, as long as that person is not trying to hit you with something or physically attack you, remain calm. I know sometimes if some person is talking loud or talking sideways to you, I know the natural instinct is you want to respond in a certain way. Don't do it because they are trying to flip the scales against you or say that,
Oh, all I was trying to do was just tell him this, and he just blew up on me. So this is why I'm writing him up or writing her up.
in this situation. So don't fall for the trigger bait, is what I say with that. So always remain calm and try to listen in what they are saying, because 9 times out of 10, if they are wrong at something, you need to be able to catch the things that they're stating to you that they are wrong about. And here, let me get the number 3. After you have recorded or documented in any way, and you listen to what your manager had to say, then sit down, get the notes that you have or the documentation, and then compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. Compare with what your notes and what they are telling you that you did not do. You want to compare that. Once you compare and you find the discrepancies in your notes from what the supervisor has said to you that you're not doing, then you request a sit down with that manager. Some people may try to go to their HR. It may work for them and get the HR manager to sit down with you and the manager. If you are working on a group project with other people, then hey, maybe get the other people in the group, your coworkers, to also attend the sit down and to also bring their notes, and then confirm with them that what you have in your documentation, that it matches what they have. Okay. Now, once you request that sit down, then go over with that supervisor, or try to go over with him or her what they were stating that you wasn't doing and what your documentation is saying. Or in other words, hey, on this date, you told me to do such and such, or you told me to be at this meeting at this time. And here it is in this email, or here I got it on a recorder, or I wrote it down, or whatever. And Janie in the meeting, she also has it written down. But then you came back and said that I wasn't supposed to be at this meeting, for example, of bricklaying. You said I needed to be at this meeting on roofing. So what was it? Why are you holding me accountable for this when you told me to be here? So I'm just using that as an example. So those are the things, and those are the ways that you want to handle it. Now, most supervisors that have overstepped their boundaries, in the case that I have gave with that woman who was a lead that was trying to write me up just because of color of my skin, or however you want to say it, they will kind of back up off your line. And when you tell them like, hey, I don't think I deserve to be written up or whatever, because you told me one thing here and this is not what you stated over here. This thing is an apple, this one over here, and what you actually said to do is an orange. So these two don't mesh together. So that's kind of how you get them. If it comes down to it, to where, hey, the supervisor is being stubborn or being born or being bullheaded, is what I wanted to say, then you may need to go to HR or the EEOAC or the labor union that you have in your job, because now you have a case. You have something right there that is written down, that's documented. The supervisor said this, but over here in this email, they said this on this day and time, and the two are not matching up. So now you have some proof that you are being falsely reprimanded or written up for something that you did not do wrong. You was just following instructions. And then one other thing I forgot to add in there is, whenever you start a new job, or whenever I started a new job, what also helped me out was, the first thing I will try to do is learn the policies and procedures. And I would always ask for copies of it. If I went through any type of orientation or some type of training or anything, my thing was, could I have a copy of the policies and procedures, or the rules, or the operating instructions, or whatever, in whatever department, section, company, organization that you work for? I've always asked for that up front. And I would always keep a copy handy, and I would read over them. That will be the first thing that I'm trying to learn. So that way at my job position, I will try to make sure that I am in the realm and I am doing my job accordingly towards those rules, policies, and procedures. So that's what I have on that. Go ahead, SJ. I'll let you step in.
I'll add something else.
Sure.
Just because often, just like when you get pulled over by a police officer and they issue you a ticket, you have to sign it. There's very rare instances where you're going to be able to get out of it. But what a lot of people may not know is that you can add your own comments.
Mm-hmm.
So in the instances that I have been written up,
Mm-hmm.
one instance I was written up, basically something was done, another employee did something, but that employee was considered to be more valuable than I was because that employee performed at a higher level than I performed in terms of bottom line. It was a budget situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did not want to reprimand that employee, but they had to show that they were taking some type of action against somebody. So they used me as
You were the
that
fall
person.
girl. The fall
Right.
girl. Uh-huh.
Right. And, I was very aware of this and I wrote comments on my write-up, and I had a stellar performance review to back up the fact that I had never had an issue in this department previously. It was basically a quality control issue.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other employee did not. Now that's not really, there's no way for me to get corporate to compare and contrast those two situations, or for me to even make sure that corporate gets this. However, if something is in my file and it's going to require my signature, please believe I'm not just going to sign it. So all over that same document, I wrote my notes and what I felt was necessary to know about the situation. This is a few years ago. I don't recall exactly what it was at this time.
Right.
But more recently, I was written up and I decided, okay, in this situation, I will take responsibility because I'm in a leadership position. And although I did not do the actual thing that was a problem, I was in charge of the situation. Somebody else got out of hand. So as the leader, I'm going to take the fall. That part was fine. What I did not like was that there were a bunch of additional accusations in the paperwork as well. So I addressed them one by one in an organized and professional manner. And again, wrote all over the document before signing it, so that when this document is reviewed, for whatever reason, whomever reviews it, they will see my notes on it. So if you need a moment, it doesn't matter how long you need. If you need 30 minutes, if you need an hour, you tell whoever it is that wants you to sign that document that you need some time to include your response, and then you will sign the document, and they have to give that to you.
Good points. Good point. And what I will say in my cases, I didn't do it. I didn't sign no document, especially if I wasn't in the wrong. And even at going back to many years ago at that industrial plant, I didn't sign anything because I was like, this woman, she lost her damn mind. In short. But I do understand that. And what you're saying is, depending on the employer, you may have to sign. And like you said, since you kind of already knew what was coming, what was about to happen, I guess you were already kind of prepared in that situation that somebody had to be the fall guy or the fall girl.
Oh, no, actually, no. And tell me if you can relate to this, Coach. It seems to me like they always try to blindside you. So they didn't pull me into the office until, days after the fact. I had no idea what this was regarding. And so, of course, anybody would be emotional under those circumstances, but just try to breathe, gather yourself, take the time that you need so that you can respond effectively and defend yourself. Right. Because of course I was upset. I was absolutely upset. And of course it was not fair.
Understood.
So I definitely was not prepared for that. I wouldn't say I was surprised about the situation per se, but because so much time had passed between when the incident happened and then when I was called into the office for the matter, I wasn't prepared that day. And I
Gotcha.
certainly wasn't prepared for the entirety of it, which was basically attacking my performance altogether.
Right. I got you. Okay. That makes sense. So do you have any tips for that?
Other than, for one thing, make sure you get a copy of this for yourself, for your own records.
Yes, if you
And
sign.
again, send a follow-up email for your records as well. And try to send the email again with a professional, and I won't say pleasant, but something near pleasant tone. So let's say, for example, that we're going to go back to the good old standard that you're getting written up for being late to work.
Mhm.
Okay. So you finish the document, you sign the document, what have you. You take a couple of days to cool off. Then you send an email, and the email should say something like this.
Hello, so-and-so, your manager, whomever wrote you up. I understand the importance of getting to work in a timely fashion. I do want you to know that this is a priority for me. However, it is something that I struggle with.
And you can list a reason or not. Perhaps you have children, perhaps you take care of somebody, perhaps your transportation, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And then make a suggestion to solve the problem.
Is there any way that I could have a more flexible schedule? For example, perhaps I can have a range of time that I can come in. Instead of 9 o'clock sharp, it would be 9 to 9:15, and then my breaks and my out time would follow accordingly.
Yeah.
And most of the time they're going to tell you no. However, now you have documentation showing that you care. They can't just paint you as a lazy, entitled employee who can't
Mhm.
get to work on time. And
Right.
you never know, maybe it has not been by experience, but maybe they will consider that. And keep in mind, this is something that you can negotiate when you start a job also, depending on the type of job that you have. You know, this is something that you may be able to negotiate at that time. And
Good
then
point.
lastly, I would say, after you document it in that fashion, you know, again, be honest with yourself. Take into consideration, what did I contribute to this situation? How did I make myself vulnerable? What can I improve on?
Right. And great points and tips in that area. And what I will say as a recap, if you are that employee that's coming to work on time, you are that employee that's doing your job, you take your breaks on time, you try to go above and beyond when the situation is necessary, and you care about your job, make sure the first thing is whatever you're doing. I don't care if it's your dream job, you love it, your coworkers are cool, your supervisor once a week, y'all go in his office and sing,
Kumbaya, me Lord, kumbaya.
you know, I don't care how cool or how lovable y'all are. Document it. Document your stuff, especially once again in today's time. There's all kinds of devices you can use to either record, document, take a damn picture, put it on a computer, whatever. Make sure you document. And if it's something you are not understanding that needs to be done, then by all means, get it in writing. That was one thing I forgot to state earlier. So document and get the instructions or whatever you're supposed to be doing, get it in writing from your supervisor if you don't understand. And then also learn the policies and procedures or operating procedures in whatever department, company, whatever you work at, learn that. So that's number one. So do those things. Number two, when your supervisor does approach you, remain calm. As long as they're not taking a swing at you or trying to slap you or do you any physical harm, remain calm. Even if they're a little hot-headed, they may be using sort of language with you, remain calm and listen to everything that they are saying to you. And then number three, make sure from your documentation, from what the supervisor has told you or sent to you in writing or the paperwork that they have given you, ask for a copy, ask, can you read it over first or anything in that nature? Compare your notes because 9 times out of 10, you may find some discrepancies in there, especially if you have an authoritative supervisor. They think that they are God on the job, and they're going to overstep those boundaries. So you're going to find something if you listen to them and you look at the documentation of what they're writing you up for, and you compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, they're going to misstep somewhere. And then once you do that, you find the discrepancies, then ask for a sit down meeting. It could be in their office, it can be in the break room, wherever. It could be with HR. Ask to sit down to discuss the write ups and discuss what you have documented in that situation. And then once you point that stuff out, once you have that meeting, then point the stuff out to where they were falsely accusing you or trying to reprimand you for something that you didn't do, or you was just following the directions of that supervisor. And just because they changed something overnight, you might not have caught it, or you did catch it, but it was at the last minute and things went bad with that project or that task or that assignment. And then, as SJ says, just to add more tips in there, stay cool and stay professional. Let them get out of pocket before you get out of pocket. So those are some tips that you should do with that. And then if you do, as SJ was saying, if you do sign the paperwork, you do admit that you were at fault, then I would do a follow-up with the manager, maybe once a month. I would ask him hey, how's my performance? How am I tracking here? Am I improving? I would hold that manager feet to the fire as far as trying to make me a better employee for that company or organization.
Create that paper trail. So don't ask your manager verbally. Send an email.
That's right. Or have him send it in an email, or have him document it on a Word document or something. Just
No,
get it.
you request that follow-up through email.
No, I got that point. And I'm just saying, whatever the supervisor, whatever they send you going forward, that's what I should have said. Make sure it is written, it is documented, not something verbally that they're just telling you to do this, or hey, you're doing a great job. Have them put it, as SJ is stating, put it in an email, put it in writing, do something where it's in writing and you have that document. So with that being said, those are some tips in the workplace. SJ, do you have anything else?
I think that covers it for this time.
Good. With that being said, I want to take a moment out to thank everybody for their comments and showing love with the likes to our channel, helping us grow. And we can't do it without y'all. Plus, we love giving this content to you guys out there and girls who are dealing with these issues in the workplace. And if you guys are having problems or know of other people that are having problems in the workplace, please recommend our channel. This is what we're here for. So please like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you get updated and anytime we drop a new video. With that being said, y'all have a great day. And until next time, take care. Thank you for listening.